It's close to 3 p.m. on Thursday. Actually, now it is exactly 3 p.m. So hopefully YouTube now allows me to stream this. If you've been already waiting in the chat, thank you. Yes, I can now finally confirm this. Like, I got this little delay between clicking on let's stream and then seeing my actually picture on YouTube, but now I can see it. So welcome to 8 people already watching. At least it's a good start, but I'm sure we can get a few more people in here today because I can once again promise you I'm
super excited.
And today's gonna be a great stream because 1, I got some cool news I want to share with you, and 2, we're gonna do some cool Angular real world development. So share the stream on Twitter or Facebook if you're still on Facebook, or Instagram, or wherever you are, so we can get a few more people in here. First of all, welcome to Gustavo, who was very early and said, "Hey mom, I'm on YouTube." I really had to laugh, Gustavo. That was a nice one. Also, welcome to Sahil and Pedro. Where are you from today? Ray is, of course, here. Greetings from Germany to Australia. Ray, can't see Chuck yet, but it's really hot. Yes, it is. Welcome, Ali. Ali? Do you say Ali or Ali? I would say Ali. Welcome, Nabil. Yeah, it's really hot in here. I do have. Wait, give me a second. Well, it's actually not too bad in here. And I know you can most likely not see this. It's 25 degrees in here. I don't know if this is good or bad. It doesn't feel very good, but to be honest, it's a lot worse outside. So it's like 34 degrees outside. Hello everyone. Hello Dan Steve. Hello Michael from the Philippines. Hello Wave, Ahmed, Daniel, Bobby, Justman. So many people in here. Indonesia is in the house. Simpson, Suman. Namaste. Exactly. 24 people. That's a good start. Here's so many people. I can't even get to tweet this out. Come join our weekly Angular live stream with Ionic framework news, because that's what we're gonna have today. I got some cool news to share with you in case you missed it. Once again, putting this up front, if you can't watch the whole time for the stream, or for whatever reason you tune out, you can still watch this afterwards. So the whole stream should be recorded on YouTube usually. Let's wait a short second until Chuck is in here so we can continue with the news of the day. No, really. That's so cool that I turned on the stream and 28 people, close to 30 people are already immediately in the stream. So welcome to everyone. Thanks again for taking the time this week. If it's hot, make sure you drink enough, especially early in the day. If you drink too much late in the day, you're gonna disrupt your sleep. So Science Simon says, drink enough, but drink early in the day. Hey Simon, I'm Dan Steve, one of the New Wave IDE. New Wave IDE. I don't know exactly what this means. Is this a good or a bad thing? What's going on as well? Hello to Africa, to Congo. Yes, Priyang, I'm always back. It's very cold and windy in Australia at the moment. This is like, the world's fascinating, right? And it's summer now here in the northern hemisphere, and it's kind of bad in Australia. Simon, have you used WebStorm IDE for development? I think I did use it for a very short time. So yeah, not really a big fan of WebStorm. I like my IDE, which is Visual Studio Code, which I'm going to show you, of course, in a second. Any other questions up front before we dive into today's topics? Have a nice time. Tailwind is the future. I don't know if Tailwind is exactly the future, but whatever we do is definitely close to the future. I've mailed you to create one tutorial on auto suggest text box. Yeah, Suma. Actually, I think this is on my list for next or the week afterwards. I'm not exactly sure, but something like this. Okay. 30 people, that sounds good. Like, we can get into some cool Ionic news, because there are actually a few news that I wanted to share with you. Let me quickly always rotating between the preview of my Streamlab preview and YouTube. Like, I really need another display. So what I wanted to tell you first of all is that Capacitor 4.0 is released. Yay! Congratulations once again on the release to the Ionic team. Mike posted this recently, just a few days ago. The release of 4.0. First of all, don't be scared. This is not a big change as we've seen in the past. So migrating existing bigs should be quite easy by installing the latest Capacitor CLI and then running the npx cap migrate command. I really like this. This is making the developer life a lot easier. Stuff like this. I think we got this with Angular as well. And yeah, you can also do a one-click migration with a Visual Studio Code extension. I haven't done this, although it sounds kind of interesting. Like, I should probably give it a try. What's new in Capacitor 4? Well, a few plugins, of course, have changed. Why did they change? Well, you don't need a major new version if you don't have a breaking change, so that's the reason. I think we moved to, is it all of this? Yeah, this is updating to version 4. Especially in iOS, the platform version was changed to 13. Some unnecessary code was removed. On Android, a lot of package versions changed in the Gradle files. And you can get all of this done by running the npx migrate script, by the way. Do we got any more real questions? Use a day-night theme. Yeah, remove JCenter from your Gradle files. And in terms of plugins, I think the most breaking change is probably that the Capacitor storage plugin has been renamed to Capacitor preferences. I don't know if the migrate command will fix this, but that's an easy search and replace and installing the new package in your project. Otherwise, check out the list of plugins. If you're using any of those, you might have to change a function signature here or there, but really this is like everything, and you get the benefits of staying on the latest Capacitor version, so Capacitor 4, and really the migration should be quite fast for everyone. If you got any questions about Capacitor 4, just let me know. I'm seeing some issues with Capacitor 4 to do with Cocoa Pods. I'm actually not 100% aware of that, but I love the new version and the storage name change. Yeah, I think the storage version name change was really timely. I think this was a very good idea. So give it a try if you're still on Capacitor 3. Should be quite fast, especially if you're using the Ionic CLI. However, that's not everything. I also want to share that I think just today, no, 2 days ago, Ionic version 6.2 was released, which is pretty cool. This is a minor update, but it includes some cool updates. So 6.1 was already fixing some datetime issues and adding a functionality to the new bottom sheet. But with 6.2, we see many more options for daytime multiple date selection. We also see the date-time wheel picker. I think a lot of people have complained that this is missing, and now it's finally back. We got a compact style. Also looks quite nice. And we also got localized AM/PM tags. That's cool. Then we got a bottom sheet handle behavior, which apparently means when you click on this little handle, so this little top area here, do you have like a lens or something to zoom on a Mac? Is that like a desktop zoom? I don't know. This little handle up here, if you click it, it will now cycle through the different breakpoints. Well, yeah, it's a nice change. Yeah, I guess, yeah, whatever. Then we got toggle on off labels. It's actually pretty cool. I don't know if I've seen this in native iOS, but it's definitely helpful. I must admit, sometimes those toggles confused me as well. We got a range active bar style point. I can't remember exactly if I had this problem, but I think I've seen people complain about this before. So that's all. It's an easy upgrade. If you're on anything version 6 of Ionic, you should easily just install the latest package, and then you're good to go. In terms of other news, I wanted to share Actually, one more thing, just because I found it quite interesting, and that's Supabase, which we will now get into more in a second, is having another launch week, and I might be actually part of that launch week. So you can sign up at supabase.com/launch week. And I'm telling you this because after you get a ticket, which enables you to get a Supabase goodie bag, so nothing really fancy, but this ticket is so cool. Like, here is my Supabase ticket. This is like a free thing. I just signed up with GitHub. It's completely like, you don't need this, but this feels really cool. Like, it makes you really feel special. So kudos to the Supabase team or whoever implemented this functionality of the ticket. I really like this. So go check it out, supabase.com/launch-week. Actually gotta put it in the chat real quickly if you want to check it out, because Supabase launch weeks, because I might be part of that. Supabase launch week. I can't type today. Good morning, Chuck. Welcome. Glad you could make it. You haven't missed anything. I just went through the news, which were Capacitor 4 is released and Ionic version 6.2 is released. Just watch the beginning afterwards. Wonder if Supabase is going to be on the chat like last time. Yeah. I don't know if they can make it every week, if they now got a calendar event. I should have probably tagged them, or maybe if someone of you is on Twitter, just ping at Supabase with the URL to this stream, and then they're gonna join. That would be nice, because we're gonna do some Supabase fun. So we need to take a step back quickly and see what we've done so far. Let me bring this up. So last week, if you haven't been in the chat, we started a cool project. We started a project called Votastic. The name was generated by the community, and we went through setting up an Angular project, including Tailwind, hosting it on Netlify, connecting it to Supabase, and as far as I know, we already got a few people signed up. Yeah, about 17 people. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna build out this page. I'm gonna already start and zoom in a bit more. We're gonna build out that page because so far, I think I can sign in exactly, yeah, my super magic password, and then I'm in the inside area and I got some information here. Now, what happens if I refresh this? I don't see any information. So we're gonna have a problem with this, and hopefully after we fix those authentication things, we'll also be able to work with some Supabase data, because I actually prepared in the 10 minutes before the stream, because I was really
super excited
before we went into this. I wrote some SQL and that's gonna be hopefully helpful later here. So I think we're ready. Actually, there are two more things if you want to help this out. First of all, I'm gonna put the link to our repository in the chat, so you can give it a star, or you can watch it, or you can, actually we got already 2 forks. That's nice. You can do whatever you want. Oh, and what I also might like is right now our application just looks like this, and if someone of you is creative while watching the stream, I would really love to have a little icon. So you can create an icon and probably create a pull request if you know how that works, or you can just send me an email, simon@devtactic.com, with our new icon. Also, if you want a different task and you're not into icon creation, maybe you also want to write a better README which describes that this project is, I don't know, a community project. You can find the links on YouTube. It's hosted here. So I'm gonna put out the URL later again as well. And also, if you just want to implement some features, you can also do this. So in case you don't know, what you can do on GitHub is you can just go ahead and clone the repository. No, actually I previously forked the repository. So then you can clone your own fork, you work on something, you commit it, you push it, and then in your own repository, you can create a pull request to my repository, and I can then accept it, and your code will be merged into mine. So this is a good example and a good way to learn in general how GitHub push, pull, and fork works. Simon, are you 24 years old? Simon 24, no. This is an interesting story about my username. Actually, it's like all the usernames I picked online are so bad. First of all, picking Simon, I explained this last week because Simon sounds like Simon in Spanish, and we had some Spanish colleagues back then, so I picked this for my email. 24 is actually the birth year of a handball club I've been supporting when I was younger, and I used this because, like, for some games or platforms, your username is just taken and you need a random number, so I always use 24. Apparently, I also use this for GitHub and for other places. So this is where the 24 came from. So it's really, yeah, it's not that good. I think let me quickly look it up. Not that I tell you anything wrong about this. Yeah, this is. Can we get a? Where's the entry to this on Wikipedia? There it is. This is where I come from. So, quick lesson on German again. Turn- und Sportverein Grün-Weiß-Dankersen-Minden e.V. And it was founded in 31st of May 1924. So this is where the name comes from. By the way, I actually don't know exactly where my Twitter handle name comes from. That was another terrible idea. Anyhow, so I told you if you want to do something for this repository, create a cool icon or write a better README file. There are two tasks I see right now. But now back to this. So the problem is that in our application, we got a login component, which allows us to register. We've seen that this works, and we're also allowed to log in. We don't show an alert yet. Well, do we have any kind of alert package available? Like ngx alerts. This is gonna be interesting. Do we want? No, we don't wanna. ngx. Is there anything else we could use? Like, oh no, what is this? Oh, I just thought my sound was totally off, but it isn't. I don't know if there's any other alert library that you can recommend. Please leave something in the chat. Because I'm not sure what we're gonna use for this. So using Tailwind alerts is definitely cool, but I don't know if we can easily use them. So any cool Angular sweet alerts. Sweet alerts. Let's see. Sweet alert 2 sounds good. Stop war in Ukraine. 100% agree. Is this active? Kind of. A beautiful way to do something. Beautiful responsive customer accessible for JavaScript pop-up boxes. 0 dependencies. Well, that's actually, it's okay. It's not too bad. It doesn't look cute, but it doesn't really fit our Tailwind style. So I'm not sure if we're gonna go with sweet alerts. I'm gonna keep this open, but for now we're gonna just implement the functionality. So, as I said, when we now refresh, we see auth changed session. That's pretty cool. Actually didn't know this because previously Supabase on auth state change wasn't triggered in the beginning. However, it looks like it is triggered now, which makes our life a lot easier because we're gonna keep track of our user. So let's add a private current user in here. We're gonna make it a behavior subject, which will be either a boolean or a user. Can we do this from? Yeah, we can. And then we're gonna say new behavior subject. And we're gonna initialize it with null. Will this work? No, of course not. I think we can. Well, whatever. Then let's put another any in here. That should get rid of the error. Any for the win. NGX toaster. Yeah, I think I heard about this one. I'm gonna check this out. So when I got a session in here, how does the data look like? Auth changed. So there's a user property. So I think we're gonna use that one. So let's say if we got a session, we're gonna set this dot current user next to session.user. In the other case, we're gonna use else, and this is important. In the other case, we could actually do this easier, but I'm gonna do it explicitly today. So in the other case, we're going to set it to false. This will be important for the guard logic that we're going to add in a second. So let's see. We need a guard to protect our inside area. I think I should have used a guard before. We're not in an Ionic project, so ng generate guard. Let's just call this auth guard. And it implements the connective interface. That already helps. It will ask you if you don't put it in here anyway, so no big deal. So within the guard, we now want to check if a user can access a certain page. So the way of adding a guard is simply going to your routing and then saying, can this user activate this route? Only if the auth guard says true. In our case right now, the authentication guard will always say true. Let's see, we go to app. There we go. So now we can compare this. Okay. So what if we make the authentication guard now dependent on the actual current user of our authentication service? Let's do this. First of all, we need to return the current user as an observable. It's a good idea to always have the current user private and then only returning so let's get current user, or you could actually also define a getter function if you want to. It doesn't really matter. And this will return this dot current user as observable. Is this actually big enough? Did I zoom in 4 times? Yeah, I did. Cool. Okay. Because now we can't change the value of our current user from outside the service. And through getting the current user, we still get the observable. This is the whole reason why we do it like this. All right, let's get back to our authentication guard. And within the connectivate, we actually don't need any of the stuff in here. What we're going to return is most likely an observable. We can keep it like this, and it's true. On top of that, we should inject our private auth service, and then we're ready to return this dot auth service get current user, which is an observable. So we're fine to use an observable in our guard here. We now need to add a pipe. I'm just gonna leave out a few things. So let's say we would do it like this. Let's say log is authenticated. If we would do it like this, let's put in any and return this. I don't know where map is coming from. That's a pity. From RxJS operators, my friend. Please, you could have done this. Okay, if we do it like this, you're gonna see something. We're gonna see is authenticated null. Then we see the auth changed event from Supabase, and then we're still inside. Now, this is a problem. This means we only get the first value of our behavior subject, which we initialize with null. So we should definitely filter out this value because this doesn't tell you or us anything about the authentication state of our user. So to fix this, an easy way is to add a filter block to the pipe. So filter, and what we're going to check is if value is unequal to null, basically. I think we can also do this with 3 exclamation marks or something like that. So as a result, what happens? We see the changes from our service, and we get is authenticated. That's actually pretty good. Let's see what happens if we're in an environment like this. Now, in here, we don't get any log. Why is this the case? Actually, I don't know why this is the case. Probably because the observable isn't completing now. So I think we want to call take one. Let's see. Hey, where did I introduce an error? Okay. This doesn't really work well for whatever reason. We got the authentication service. That's interesting. So probably we see now the problem that I've assumed up front, and that is that onAuth changed is not called in the beginning. So this is something I've seen before. I think we can overcome this by manually requesting the user. So this dot superbase on, I think they're working on this. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a function we should call. Okay, this user is null in this case. In this case, the user would be defined. So we can use that information basically up front in case we don't have the other event. So in that case, we're gonna just call next with the user and otherwise false. So it's a little fallback. That is not how you spell fallback. This is it. So here we see we're allowed to app because we have a user, and here we are not allowed to enter is authenticated false. The only problem is we're not routing anyone back. So let's quickly add this, but this is pretty easy. If the user is authenticated, we're gonna allow access to that page, and otherwise we're just gonna route the user to somewhere else. Okay, basically to the login page. So going to app, here we're not authenticated, we're not allowed to enter that page. Trying to refresh and going directly to app works because we have an auth session. So this is how you implement a guard with Angular and make sure that it protects your inside area. Really, we could now put this guard above every route in here and all the inside pages are protected. It's actually really that easy. All right, let me check the questions. Any questions so far about authentication? My services use PrimeNG. Actually, I haven't used PrimeNG, I think, because we're using now Tailwind. Simon, how about using $sign for observers? Yeah, I don't think this is that cool. I've also seen the way of using underscore in here, but then TSLint will also complain about something. So yeah, you can use it. It feels like Svelte then. But you don't really have to. You do you. It helps you to understand your code better than use a $sign, use it as a convention, but you don't really have to. It won't really change anything. So now that we're ready to go to the inside area, we previously added only this home component, I think. Yeah, exactly. So now let's change this and generate a new component. Actually, I want to also have a new module. So let's generate a module inside. Yeah, we're just gonna call this inside, and we're gonna say flat, so that it's not creating another folder for the module. All right, now we have a module here. Now we generate a component, which is basically the votings list. There we go, and then we need votings details. And that's for now everything that we need. And we should probably, I'll actually get rid of home because we don't really need it. But what I'm going to do instead is, what I like to do is I like to create another component that I call UI. And within that UI, we're going to define our navigation bar in the footer and the router outlet in the center. And then it makes life a bit easier. And say, so let me show you. First of all, I'm now gonna call git add, git commit, add auth guard, and pushing the files. So again, you can follow all of this on GitHub. Hello world orchids. I can see this. I can see all of you. Okay. How do we actually do this? I haven't done this in a long time. So the cool thing about our module is that we now got this and all the components already declared in here. How did this work? So for the path app, we're not using a component now. We will simply use what is the actual syntax like for a child, low children, right? Like, I don't know what's the syntax. I'm gonna have to open an old Ionic app just to check this. I don't know. Where's the post I did? It's always so strange where you use Angular. Okay, this is the syntax. Thanks for that. So the syntax should look a bit like this. Now, usually Angular routing just directly uses the component, and now I want to use it with a module. So we're going to use the inside module, and then we have the inside module. This can only be activated on the out guard. And what we then do is within our inside module, we're going to define the routing. So I'm going to copy a bit of this. I can now get rid of the home component since it doesn't exist anymore. And in here we can now also, you could also add another routing file if you want to do this. I don't know. Do we really have to? I don't think so. Declarations, no imports. Okay. And I don't know, but I feel like we also need to, what did this look like before? The router. What did this export? The router module. Not close anything. Okay. Where did I make a typo? Common module. Okay, because we got those routes in here. So what we're going to do now is, first of all, for the blank path, which is basically /app, we're going to use our UI component. So this is somehow the overarching component that represents the, let's say we have a navbar, navigation at the top. Then we have a router outlet which displays our content, and at the end we have a footer, copyright Simonics, so something like this. Why is the outer outlet red? Most likely because we haven't imported the router module. So we can do this up here. There we go. Now the cool thing is we don't need the authentication guard anymore. And we only need to define the children of the UI. And those children will be rendered inside the router outlet. This is the whole magic and idea here. So we got two of them. We're just gonna do, the first one will be empty path. And this will be the votings list component. And then we got a second one, which will have most likely just an ID in the path. So a wildcard here, and then the component voting details component. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Let's see, for now, nothing will work. That's always like you're writing code for 10 minutes and then nothing works. It's always like, ah, no, where did I go wrong? Thanks for subscribing. Thanks. Yeah, I really can't see who's subscribing. Let's talk romance with the wall. How about using React, buddy? Yeah. Yeah. React is good. I didn't have really a lot of time to practice React lately. So we encounter a problem here. What's the problem? Router outlet is not a known element. If router, okay. Okay, so that means let's check our app routing. We usually have the router module from Angular router. Did you save this, please? I don't really like the for root call here, but at the same time I don't really like anything. Let's run ngserve again, because I actually have the router module in here. Right now I don't see a reason. That's not any better, but maybe we can now see this. Okay, can't bind to form group on our login form. Like this is so funny. You do something and then at some point it just breaks without actually changing. So funny. App component doesn't know about router outlet. I think I know why. I actually think we shouldn't export this. We shouldn't export our router module. I think actually the code doesn't really like this. Form group. Who did change this? Like, did anyone mess up my app? Oh, the app module, not the app routing. We don't have the home component. Like, this is such a hidden issue. Yeah, okay, we're back in the game, people. We're back in the game. 43 people and we're back. Where did we stop? We wanted to go to the app area. Ha! And it works. So we see navigation, voting list, and our copyright. This is nice. It works. It works exactly as I wanted it. Let's add the navigation. Navigation, you know, I'm always using Tailwind UI. Let's see if we can have some kind of navigation at the top. Actually, what do you call this? Hero feature header sections? Like, I know they have complete pages. We definitely can already take a generic footer. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. I'm gonna use this one. We could also have a footer component, by the way. If you feel fancy, do it. Otherwise, just don't. Okay, we got that one. Cool. Now we need a header. That's more important. And I don't want to code all of this up. This looks good. Yeah, all those fancy menus. We don't really need those fancy menus in the first place. Probably we're just gonna go with this one. It looks good. And we're gonna put it in here. Again, I don't know if I would put it in the UI component. I would probably have really like a navigation and a footer component. Oh, come on, I can already hear you screaming. Please, Simon, put it in there. Okay, ng generate component inside header. Ng generate component inside footer. Really just doing this for you. Okay, header component gets the header code. Footer gets the footer code. Okay, Octis, please watch what you're putting in the chat. Be nice, don't flame, otherwise I need to remove some people from the chat. Okay, we got our UI in here. So now we can also use the footer or the app footer, which is the default name, and the app header in here. Voila, now we simplified this a tiny bit. And it looks actually okay so far. Oh no, I zoomed there. I wanted to do this. Okay, cool. That was okay. We're gonna reuse one of those buttons up here to try a sign out. So let's use the first one, which is sign in. I'm gonna call this sign out. We're gonna remove the second button, and this one will have a click event. Sign out. So let's implement this in our header component. And then we can finally test the whole flow. Private auth service, auth service. Now I'm gonna take a break. It's already, we're moving so quickly. Ah, Valery from Bulgaria. I think I know your avatar. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I got someone on my mind. The Ionic community is really big. This starts Supabase auth sign out. What will this return? A promise? Yes, nice. Returns a promise. We're gonna make this a wait first of all, and then we're gonna use this dot current user next false, because we're not authenticated anymore. Or we can probably do this up front and then return the sign out. Something like this should work. And then we should be able to call authentication service. Logout, sign out. I always mix up logout and sign out. I don't know why. But we're gonna do it in here as well. And then we got finally the round trip. Like implementing all of this takes sometimes really long. I hope probably you can use my repository now in the future for some basic pages. That would actually be really cool. So now we're signed in. I can view this page and I can also sign out, which doesn't show my cursor. I don't really like it when it happens like that. Can we just make this a button? Yeah. Sign out, and we're back here, and we shouldn't be able to, yes. Cool. There we go. And we can go back, sign in. Okay, the sign in doesn't sign us in. One step forward, 2 steps back. Debug. Oh, actually it worked. It just took a little bit of time. So let's add something to our header bar. Is this actually the color we wanted to use? I can't remember. Was this our color? Like, what are we using for the sign in button? We should probably make this the primary color. Sign in. We're using Indigo 600. And the header is Indigo. Well, that's okay. But for the rest of the header, I assume it's Indigo 600. Yes. We just need better icons. And we actually don't need most of the links in here. We only need one link. Router link. Or probably we should have 2, just to show you something else. But anyway, router link here will be /. And this is like my votings. Now we're going to probably just have a settings page. Let's add everyone has a settings page. Settings or my voting settings. I actually don't know what we need. Okay, I'm gonna copy this. That's all this settings. So our application is really coming together nicely. This looks cool. Votings and settings, sign out. When I click this, I get back here. Okay, yeah, of course we want to have this /app. So that was the whole idea. Yes, that works. I don't really want any click event on the icon so far. And we want to have this point to settings. So then we can use our routing, and now we can just stay in here and define different paths, and that makes this inside routing so powerful. Actually, I should have this in the last spot because it will catch everything else. So we're going to use the settings component, and now we should be able to switch between the voting list and settings. No, cannot match URL segment settings. Yeah, because it's /app/settings. Settings works, voting list works. Nice. We got a nice little switch in here. And what I wanted to show you is how we can apply an active router link as well. So let's do this. Active or router link active. This is automatically added to a router link, which is pretty cool. I want to call this active link. And we're going to add this to our settings as well. And then we just need to add the active link class in here. And since we're using Tailwind, we're just going to use add apply, and I don't know what we're going to use for active. Like probably just an underline or something. Text dash underline, is there, or is it just underscore or underline? Underline. Let's see if this works. Yes, it works. And it shows one problem, and that's the first router link active is always applied to this because we're always on /app. Now, to fix this, we need to use the router link active options, and we need to pass in exact true or something like this. Do I get code completion in here? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, but I think that was the fix. Now we see only one of them is activated at a time, which is pretty nice. Nice. We got this. I also actually wanted to implement a bit of data logic with you today. So I don't know if we get there. Let me quickly take a look at the chat. Still 40 people in here, not the 80 from last week and the 100 I was hoping for. But anyway, thanks for tuning in today. It's really hot. It's summer. I actually expect that once it becomes winter again, we might see more in here. Juan asks, hey Simon, what framework will you use for backend? Yeah. I'm actually using already a backend, and that is Supabase. It's pretty much like Firebase. It's a cloud backend. We got SQL tables in here. We got authentication out of the box. We got storage. We got edge functions. So a lot of things, and I don't need to run my own backend. So Supabase is really a great choice for a lot of projects. I actually think maybe we can go through a bit of SQL and define this. So what I prepared before the stream, let me bring this into the SQL editor, and then I'm gonna show you what I did. So this will first of all create two new tables: a votings table, ID, a title for a voting, the actual voting questions like which framework is the coolest. Then we have a description describing probably voting text. We have a creator ID, which references the auth table on Supabase, and if the creator is deleted, we want to cascade these changes and also delete all the votings of a user. On top of that, we got a public, can I say public boolean in here? I hope so. So the field should be called public. It's a boolean, default value is false, meaning if the voting is enabled public or not. I actually hope this is everything we need. And then we also need voting options, which reference a voting. I don't know, because maybe we're gonna have 1, 2, 3 options in a voting. We could put the fields directly in the voting, but I think having the voting options in here with a foreign key will work a bit better. Questions: is Supabase free? Yeah, you can use it for free in the beginning. Yes. Juan, will you make a video on how to upload an Ionic website to a hosting server? I think I have a video about that already, Juan. But overall, it's just running a build on your project and then putting the output, the dist folder, on any kind of static hosting. So Firebase works, Netlify, Vercel, or just your own servers. Hey Simon, a few months ago I finished a MERN bootcamp, then I got hired to learn Angular, and here I'm still learning Angular. Well, at least you're still learning. Yes, Supabase is like Firebase. Will there be a reminder for the Supabase launch week? Yeah, I didn't receive a mail as well, Daniel. So I think you will just get a reminder once it happens. Hey Simon, I don't have a Mac and I want to build iOS using Ionic. Do you have any other way? Yeah, you can use Ionic AppFlow, but if you're a solo business, I don't think you want to purchase Ionic AppFlow. There are other services to build your application in the cloud, but I haven't used them, so I don't trust them a lot. If you're serious about developing iOS apps, just get a cheap Mac, get a cheap Mac Mini, something like that. Because testing it, you don't want to upload your code to the cloud all the time and then build something for your iPhone that really doesn't work. So if you're serious about developing iOS apps, you should definitely get a Mac. Simon, do you have a one-on-one coaching service? No, right now not, because I don't have that much time. And just a question, is Capacitor version 3 Angular? Is Capacitor version 3 Angular doesn't able to run background tasks at all currently? Because I tried, but yeah, background tasks in general is very, very complicated with Capacitor. I haven't found a proper way, so I highly recommend that. Well, I would just rather use something like push notifications and then wake the application when it's time, or local notifications. But overall, yeah, background notifications don't seem to work very well. Okay, if nobody complains about my SQL, I'm gonna run this. Near references, thanks. In which line? No hint. That's what I like about writing SQL. Can we just... Okay, the first one works. Let's see this one. References votings, references auth users. Hey, where's the problem with this one? Voting ID references votings. Any SQL expert here in the community? I'm really not an SQL expert. But normally this should exactly be references our votings table. This is actually voting ID needs a type. Thanks for... Did anyone point this out? And there's like 10 points to Gryffindor? No. Okay, let's do it like this. Oh, no, I forgot a... syntax error at or near closing. Yeah. It's probably this one. Oh, come on. No, there shouldn't be any issues anymore. What is the problem with this? This is the title. Big int. Hi Simon, are you open to a one-on-one conversation? Not right now, sorry. I don't have any slots in my calendar left. I'm happy if I can actually get my work done. Oh, come on. What's the problem here? Anyone spotting the problem? I'm close to removing this. Child length bigger or greater than 0. I don't know. We're just gonna get rid of the check. We don't really need it anyway. But it doesn't make life any better. Am I not allowed to use an underscore in the card? Yes, I am. I certainly am. Do I have to drop that table first because I already created it? Yeah. Let's see. Will it work like this? SQL syntax. The query thing here is the last comma allowed. Thank you. 10 points to Daniel for fixing my SQL. SQL. Why you do this to me? Okay, I'm gonna put that in here so people can look up the DB SQL file later and everything we did. I also want to enable a bit of row level security, so I'm gonna add this. For the votings table, users can add votings if they're authenticated. Everyone can view votings and only the creator can delete a voting, and pretty much the same for our voting options. Let's see. Voila, that works. And with that in place, we now have defined our tables in here. That means we should normally be able to create something. So because we won't be able to completely finish this, let's just run git add dot, and I'm gonna commit the changes so far. I don't know, inside UI. And then we're gonna quickly add a button to our inside UI, to the voting list. So we can try this out. So let's add a button, click, start voting, start new voting. Okay, I don't have any angle or no tailwind in here. That's, do I want to make that page? Let's make that page look cool at least. We're gonna take that second. Like they have a snippet for some kind of inside area. No, we don't want page heating. We don't want a sidebar, notifications. We probably want, can we use something like this? No, that's a bit too much. Probably just like, yeah, just like a container, but I actually want a bit of content on that screen. Can I just have like a simple page? All of them are way too heavy. We could have something like this for our settings page, but that's also way too much. Yeah, it's not a hero section, FAQ, blog contact, team, banners, headers, nope. 404 pages, nope. But we definitely need a 404 page as well. Ah, there it is. I think this is what we want. We could have just used some of these for our header area. It happens, it happens. So just gonna see. We're gonna copy all of it. No, actually, Actually just gonna copy the main area. Maybe that works. If we just use this one in here, replace with your content. Let's see how our voting list now looks. Yeah, we don't have a start voting. Can implement that in a second. Am I not on the start new voting? Oh yeah, that is my button indeed. But it did look a lot better when I was checking it out on Tailwind. It did come with this. Let's see if this is better. Yeah, that definitely looks a lot better. So now I should just replace this with my content. To really put everything in here? I don't know. Actually, we'll do it in here. So let's use a button from Tailwind and then we are cool. Then we are ready to add some data to our Supabase database. Click start voting. Yeah, button text start voting as well. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can get this done in time. Start voting should now add some data to Supabase. For this, we're gonna add another service. Services, we're gonna call this one just data service since we only have this one domain. It should work nicely. Now I need the setup. We could probably extract this into another file. Maybe we're gonna do this next time because that could really be helpful for us. But so far we're just gonna copy paste it in here. We also need the environment. Don't use any specific environment. That's important. And then I'm gonna go ahead with add vote, or let's call it start voting. And then we probably also want get votings, which should return all the votings of a specific user. Oh, okay. To add something, we're gonna return this dot superbase, and now we need from a specific table. So from a table name, our table name should be votings. So we would normally do something like votings. They use lowercase, uppercase, lowercase, lowercase. But I'm gonna add const export const votings table, just so I can't make any typo in this application. Or we're gonna rename it to table underscore votings. It's hot, Simon. Yeah, it is definitely hot in here with the light, and I can't open any windows because it's a lot even worse outside. I think actually, where's our SQL? So we probably don't need to supply a lot of information. The title is by default new voting. The question, we don't have to use that. We actually do have, because I have this check. Because I have this check on description. Oh, that was not the best idea. So I messed up the SQL in here. I might drop the votings table while we're still that young. Drop table votings. No, already. No voting. Who depends on votings? The row level security depends on votings, right? And if I tell you to delete the votings table, what would happen? Yeah, they cannot drop table votings because other objects depend on it. If I delete voting options first and then voting second, yeah, that works. I'm sorry for the votings table. You had to go. But anyway, I don't think I'm gonna add this check now. Yes, in general, I want to have the question, but yeah, well, let's keep it. Voting question and description should be fine. Okay. So while we get this, we're gonna just insert something for this. My question, and then we're gonna add the description. My description. I'm gonna probably change this afterwards. So this will insert into our votings table the new query, and well, I think let's just run this. Let's run this. Private data service. It's so funny, if I would implement this whole flow on my own without talking about it, I probably would be a lot closer to finishing this project, but we're doing it together so we can all learn from it, get a feeling for Supabase and see how it works. So let's put this here. I'm gonna await the call because Supabase returns a promise, mark the function as asynchronous, and finally log out data. And if we're lucky, we're now able to really start a voting. Let's give this a try. Yes, we got back new data. And if we check out Supabase, our table editor for votings, we should see a first table here. And in fact, you can also do the same if you go to the page, which is this URL, and log in with your own credentials. I'm gonna get to the questions you had in here in a second. So public URL of the page is here. You can sign in with your credentials or create an account. And then you should also be able to create a voting by clicking on that button. Right now, we're not getting back the votings. Maybe we could quickly implement this. So this should be fairly simple. So from the table, we want to pretty much select everything. And this won't return your votings, hopefully, only those of the user, because I'm only allowed to see my own votings. So let's put this in here as well. I'm gonna keep an array of votings in here, and on init we're gonna now let's add them. Load votings. This start load votings, and within load votings I'm gonna call the data service get votings. I'm gonna assign them to our array. And then we're gonna lock this out for now. You're not happy about the type, right? Now you're happy? Okay, come on. Yeah, get votings. What's actually returned in here? I actually don't know. I think we might have to surround this with data or body, something like that. Type any null is not assignable to type any. Sorry, I couldn't follow that one. Let's see the result first of all, and then should be able to properly debug this. So now on my page, this is what I get back. So these are my votings that I get back. I can't change them right now, but it's not a big issue. Yeah, I could probably do it in a better way. Let's do this quickly in a better way. So cons votings equal await this result, and then I'm gonna return either votings.data or an empty array. That makes life here easier. So then I can just assign this to my votings. I don't need two awaits in here. Type any is not assignable to type never. Yeah, okay, whatever. And then we're gonna add a little iteration, the worst iteration you've seen in G4, let voting of votings, and then let's put in the whole voting here. There we go. We don't have any real-time functionality, so when we add a voting, we won't see it, but I can now start another voting. I will see the data in here, and if I hit refresh, I'm gonna see I got a second voting. Nice. We see we don't have the mobile toolbar implemented, but this is like step 500. I don't think this is gonna be super important right now. Super important is definitely that I call this my votings. And then we got a nice sign in, sign out flow for vote testing. We can start votings, and I think next week we will be ready to finish most of the other functionalities. So I'm gonna add all the code, git commit dash work in progress, add votings. And once again, if you want to check out the code, you can find it on GitHub link in the chat to the repository. And I'm gonna also, no, I just posted before the link to the public project, so you can check it out. It is working. In fact, I wanted to add a domain, but maybe I want to do the domain thing next week. So that I can also log in here, and it hasn't built the project yet. It will do this, and once the project has built, we should see this in here. So this was actually a lot of coding today. I hope you still enjoyed the live stream. I couldn't answer that many questions, and we didn't have the 100 people, but well, we can't have a new hate every week. Like, it's better if we have a new hate every now and then. It's better to celebrate then. So, was happy to share this today. What other functionality would be added? So my plan for this project is to create a voting, then you can define a question and answers. Then you can make this voting public, and then you can finally vote on ideas that I have. And as the creator of the voting, probably also as the people voting, we can then see how many people voted for a specific option. I think this is a cool, nice little example. We're gonna show us a few different things about Supabase, about Angular, about hosting projects, and a lot of these things. So if you got any questions for the future episodes, just ping me on Twitter. You're gonna find me. Greetings to the Ukraine, to Yuri, to Kayo. Thanks for today. Shirt sponsored. Yeah, there will be sponsored content from Supabase, but actually this stream was not sponsored by Super. I was just using it because I like it. Links, no one hates you. You're the Lord of Ionic. Thank you, Links. Happy to hear. Yes, Ray. Happy to see you inside the Ionic Academy. Juan, Chuck, everyone that was in the chat. Next week, I promise we're going to make more progress on this project. Today was really a lot behind the scenes with the authentication guard and setting up the SQL. I'm going to figure out a bit more of SQL probably before next week's stream. I hope I will be there next Thursday. I hope you will be there too. I hope if every one of you brings just one friend, we're already at 80 people, and then I bring 20 more people, and then we get to 100 people in one of the upcoming live streams when we work on vote testing, or probably on Svelte or React in the near future. Anyway, make sure you're drinking enough if it's hot where you are. If it's cold like Ray, get indoors, and then I'm gonna hopefully catch all of you next week. So until then, as always, happy coding,